Hey guys, welcome to Cosmic Crypto family. Welcome to Ivan's amazing family as well. I'm joined here with, of course, Ivan. How are we doing, buddy?
Doing good. Greetings.
Nice, nice. Well, first of all, thank you as always for making the time for doing this. So, just a big thank you to you. And if anyone hasn't checked it out, just to plug Ivan's new Akashic School, which he's launched, I believe, as well. So I can link that below as well. And yeah, today, the usual, buddy, we're going to go into the blockchain consciousness, just get an overview of the market. It's been a bit crazy. I don't know. Have you tapped into the crypto?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've kept up with some of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's up, it's up and down, but I feel good about where everything's going. So we'll tap into that today. And then afterwards, maybe if we have time, just because it's Ivan Sunday, we can tap into Aramatena, which is a very, very like high vibration, high density planet, which is directly linked to the Kabbalah, the true Kabbalah with Earth. So it's really about the passage, stairway to ascension, I guess, if you look at it that way. So let's do it. Whenever you're ready, buddy.
Sounds good. All right, sounds good. All right, blessings. Greetings, blockchain consciousness brings you.
Greetings. Thank you for joining us again. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, we're always here to happy to help.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted, because it's been a while since we last caught up, I just wanted to start with the high level. How is everything, feeling energy wise with Bitcoin, first of all, just because that's the biggest crypto in the space?
As you know, there's a lot of manipulation that happened recently. Speculators is becoming similar to the stock market. And so you say some speculators joined in to the crypto market so they can manipulate at least more for Bitcoin than the other coins. So Bitcoin is going to go through a lot of, and of course that affects the other markets, but I believe they want to push it up to 100,000. Of course, you have some time for that, but that's the goal, the long-term goal.
I thought so, yeah. And we always talk about the manipulation, don't we, when we get together with JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. Mm-hmm. Now we see it with this whole China ban of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. To me, it sounds like, first of all, it's impossible to implement that. Second of all, it's just a distraction to shake the weak hands, to shake the new investors.
Yes, to make people scared, get them to sell. And so more can buy into it. Deutsche Bank is very much involved with it, of course, and becoming more involved to block. They're trying to block people from buying it, actually.
Yeah, I bet. Like we've seen, especially I think even the FBI and some US senators going after Celsius Network, which is like the crypto people's bank. And they're going after them because they're bringing such great interest, right? For the depositors being us. Whereas Deutsche Bank and the other banks, all they can provide is like 0% basically. So that makes sense. And of course, people need to remember, right? Deutsche Bank has some of the biggest derivative positions in the world of debt and over leveraged trading. Yeah.
Yes. So like a Illuminati bank, basically.
Exactly. And just to touch on that, we're around $43,000 Bitcoin now. And we're not big Bitcoin investors, but it does lead the crypto market for now, at least. Do you see it going below, dipping or correcting below $37,000 in the next, say, month timeframe?
I believe they want to keep it around 39, 38. There was a prediction for it to go to 28,000, which possibly still might happen, but they don't want to dive it that deep. But
yeah,
that's the extreme. But they want to keep it around 40,000 right now.
Okay, and Is there anything, once, say if it hits, 38, 39,000, like you said, that sounds about right.
Maybe 35.
With the
Yeah.
energies coming in astrology, especially, of moving out of Capricorn slowly and, into this new moon phase on the 6th of October, do you see some price appreciation coming back above $50,000 Bitcoin and beyond?
Well, eventually, yes, you do see it. Yes, around 35 if it goes down, but for 50,000, yes, it's trying to get there. 65 is the number that they're looking for, at least currently. But yeah, so around December, they're going to push for. It's going to have some highs and lows, as you know.
I bet. And just you touched on my next question. Are you tapping into the low price of December of say $30,000 or $35,000 Bitcoin, or are you tapping into potential this week?
No, more of a this week. We feel like they're going to leave it alone. It's one moment. We'll see. It'll probably just stay around the number it's at this time. I mean, some want to put it down to 30,000, but we don't see that happening. There is an agenda there to do that, but we don't feel like that will be successful. And that is government influence. So they can buy it low.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But at the end of the year, we see it diving, but also going up. So it's not the clearest, right? It's volatile. It's war zone, as you know.
No worries. Thank you for that. And that resonates deeply. And we appreciate it's always hard with short time frames, and we're not in it for knowing exactly what happens week in, week out, just the general movements and energies in the market. So appreciate it. And just going into that as well. Could we talk about some of the other altcoins? One we haven't talked about, I think, ever. It's called Theta Fuel, also T Fuel. It's being fairly subdued with its movement recently for the last 3-4 months. Do you see anything big for that? Because it's about 30 cents right now, there or thereabouts.
It does when it goes to $1. Doesn't mean it'll get to $1 by the end of the year. It might, not likely, but it is at least 60 cents if you're lucky by the end of the year.
Okay.
But it is trying to, now it might still kind of frozen for a while, but it feels like it wants to get to 60 cents at least.
Right. Yeah.
That's the goal of it.
Yeah. And I honestly could see higher, because the amount of people that want to buy T Fuel to stake it and earn rewards is pretty big, and I'm always interested in the coins that their energy has been a bit more dormant. That always intrigues me. And T Fuel is one of those coins. So thank you for that. And just to go back to one of the macro things as well, there's been loads of talk about regulation in cryptocurrency, which is ongoing in the US and many other places. They're talking about a cryptocurrency ETF, right? So an exchange traded fund, which would bring a lot of exposure to the market. Do you see that as a big indicator to the market really exploding?
Yes, it will mature. Yes. Okay. They're going to find any way they can to exploit it or to build it. So yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. And speaking of another one was regulation, one we always catch up about, XRP or Ripple, that lawsuit with the SEC. It seems to me from the footage I've seen of Brett Garlinghouse, the founder of Ripple, that he's pretty confident. I mean, he's talking about, signing deals with the Philippines, which they just did, and they're live in the Philippines remittance corridor. Is that coming to the end of that lawsuit finally between the SEC?
Possibly by the end of this year, possibly. They're trying to even wrap it up maybe October, but it's not that clear at this time.
Okay. And what do you feel the energy is blocking it? Is it going to be a settlement, first of all, or is it going to be?
Government's blocking everything. Settlement, most likely, yes. It might get a fine, possibly.
Yeah.
So, most likely a fine.
Okay. Yep. Well, that's interesting. It could be October. We will stay patient, but that one,
that's soon.
It's very interesting. It's a very powerful coin. And do you see any price prediction for that towards the end of the year? Maybe around $7 to $10. How does that sound, or is it ambitious?
$5. What is it at right now?
It's about $1, just under $1. Yeah,
under $1. It's projected to go to at least $5.
Okay.
Timing of it's not clear though.
Yeah, it's the magician
Uh,
coin. Yeah.
well, you'd be lucky if it gets to $2 by the end of the year. It's not going to be a fast growth, at least from what we see at this time.
Okay. No worries. And yeah, to talk about some other new coins that we haven't talked about. I'm trying to remember if we talked about. We'll talk about B Pro protocol. So B Pro is a fairly new. Well, it's a couple years old cryptocurrency, but it's really like a revolutionary like a project for launching games or apps or dApps as they're called. So just to tap into B Pro, do you see anything explosive happening towards the end of this year or further down the line?
Yes, by the end of this year, it's going to be kind of slow for most of the year. At the end of this year, probably December. December plays a big role, because it goes into the next year. Even if it doesn't happen around, oh well, we do see some fluctuation around October. It gets more attention. So October is it's like crypto month. Expect a lot of cryptos to go up during slightly, not all of them, but some are going to. We just see slight increases where people probably didn't think there was going to be any increase at all.
And speaking of that, do you see that in certain micro trends like in pay to play gaming? Do you see that in NFTs?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, all of that gaming will probably increase it the most
Yep.
when it becomes more popular. People are kind of weird; they still don't understand it.
Yeah. No, it's
Still not.
very
Yeah.
untapped. I personally, I can see like the huge benefit as an investor, but of course, I'm not the biggest gamer for the consciousness of mankind, but it is an untapped market with creating competitions and staking, money against each other in gaming environments. So I get it. And with NFTs as well. And speaking of, with B Pro, do you see any price prediction? Because right now, I believe it's like 3 cents.
4 cents. We see a strong 4 cents. It's not much, but we see it holding on to 4 right now. Yeah, it's really now. It might get to 50 cents, yes, but if it gets to 25, it's lucky.
Okay.
So that one's being kind of controlled a little bit. It is.
Yeah.
It could be doing better, but it's you know yeah, there's some blockage there with it.
Is it kind of like a digibyte sort of blockage from a founder or
Somewhere, yeah,
right?
yeah. It's the source is not clear. I believe it is coming from the founder though.
Interesting. Because they're launching staking for the developers, right, who build stuff on this platform. So they can earn rewards and be pro. So that just got announced yesterday. So I can imagine developers will be flocking there to build stuff and get stuff going.
It's probably by the end of the year.
Yep.
We do see a projection of at least 25 cents down the road.
Cool. All right, thank you for that. And next one, called the Google of blockchains, the Graph, GRT. Right, this is going to be a very big, cryptocurrency. It's like an aggregator. Is there anything you feel, because this is another chart and other energies have been a bit quiet since March or February, March? They had their last big move. Do you see anything for the Graph in the short term and then obviously beyond 2022?
But it hasn't really moved that much recently, correct?
No.
Doesn't seem like it's very stagnant. Don't expect a lot from that one this year.
Oh,
It
okay.
might once again December, January,
Yep.
October next year. At this point, it's that has the more digibyte energy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but you can make something from it, but no, it's just it's not going to grow quickly. There might be spurts where it will grow, but it's not making itself clear. So
Okay. Yep.
if you invest in it, just be aware that it probably will have a spike. Of course, it'll have a dive at the same time. So
Perfect. Yep. Okay. Interesting. How about another one we came across yesterday through SL369 and the guides? It's called Suitor Shield, and it's all about, I like it because it's about privacy in transactions, which will be important. So, we don't have governments and people snooping around through all the transactions. Do you see anything for Suitor in the next few months or even beyond that?
Beyond it, yes. It's
Yep.
that one has a lot of government influence. I know that it says it's trying to stay away from the government, but it feels like it has a lot of government around it. So
Really? Oh, I suppose governments want their ledgers to be private as well. That makes sense.
yeah, just there's a lot of government presence there. So yes, it's going to go like to 50% higher than it is, but it's going to take some time to get there.
Okay. Yep. No worries. And because they've got some huge partnerships with like Theta, Polygon, Ethereum, you name it. It's a cross chain.
By most like feels like next year it's going to get stronger. It has a wild consciousness about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't want us to really connect with it. So
Really? Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's very much alive. It's very, as you know, very big on its privacy.
It's written in the name or in the slogan, I should say.
Literally.
Yep. So another one that some of us got access to was the pad version of this coin. But let's talk about the blockchain and coin Velas. So VELAS, which is VLX, I believe is the ticker symbol. It's meant to be faster than Solana blockchain and it's built off the code. How do you feel about that one? It's kind of a newer one.
What is the number it's at right now? Is it
Oh, it's pretty cheap. It's like 13 cents around there.
Yeah, it's projected to go to $1.
Oh, nice. And what about long term? Is it like the next Solana?
$2, yes, $2, $3. I feel like it's another kind of gold standard energy, meaning it's a good investment. Once again, speed is another thing though. Getting there.
Yeah.
But it's looking for the dollar though.
And yeah, because you hit the nail on the head. Solana was meant to be doing 715,000 transactions per second, but it crashed or it had a huge bug in it or something went wrong the other day. It was like a technical fault. So, it just shows that you can have what you think is the best technology, but they shut it down. And that to me doesn't sound decentralized on Solana. What are your thoughts and what did you see with that circumstance?
Yeah, there's a flaw in the code. Yes.
Okay.
You say a hacker got to it from what we're seeing. Doesn't affect the people that own it, but
yeah,
it feels like some kind of hack that came in.
Okay.
That's why there is some government influence there.
Right.
Because government tools are used to do it.
Classic. Yeah.
But not by the government though.
I bet they have so many factions and, like hackers, they probably use as assets as well. It's just the sky or AI consciousness as well.
Yes.
Speaking of as well, I'd love to ask, like, how do you see the energy of the AI in the blockchain? Do you see the polarity? Like, do you see light and dark? Like we do?
There's both.
There's both.
Well, the dark goes after those of greed. So it's like, go buy this crypto really quickly and then it doesn't go anywhere. They're trying to get people to buy what they don't need.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so they are protecting a lot of the bad guys, those that are using it for not the most positive, because that's the darker side of it.
Yeah. Okay.
But the positive side is there for spiritual prosperity, connecting to your intuition, building a better life for yourself. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to follow on from talking about benevolent coins, Velas sounds very positive to me. I like the founder and his energy. It is based out of Switzerland, so I'm always a bit suspicious. Like Polkadot, I think, is based there and a few others. Can we talk about Rainmaker? One of my friends is the founder. We spoke about it in the past. They are coming up to their launch in October. I'm just to recap, you said to me last time, if they do some charitable work and they have some publicity, which they did, they were on Fox Sports FS2, I think it was, and FS1, as well as being in loads of articles. How do you see the launch for them in late October?
Oh yeah, so it'll be very successful.
Awesome.
You feel like the numbers will be higher than they projected from what we're seeing.
And when you speaking numbers, are you talking price? Are you talking people investing? It's kind of related, I guess, but
yeah, price, investors, but also price. Yeah, more investors than they ever thought. But also the price will definitely jump higher than they thought. The number is not making itself clear. I believe it's being protected right now. Okay. How much it's going to be.
Yeah, well, I'm super impressed because they've been working with the Dragon Chain team, which are some of the OGs in the space. And, they've been doing this for 3 years. Some cryptos are, whisked and coded quickly or copy and pasted. This one is all about humanitarian and, helping Gaia with reforestation programs. And the energy is there, kind of like Shiba Inu, which is doing a lot of that stuff as well. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you for that. And to talk about another one that's just popped up on the radar, could you talk about going back to the gaming stuff? There is an IDO, so a pre-sale, what's called an initial DEX offering, which means we get in there early. Some of the group, I'm interested to look into this. It's called Game Zone, and it's all about pay-to-play gaming on a cross-chain, capability, or ability. Do you see anything for Game Zone when it's launched next week?
Well, it's a good investment, but we actually don't see it being that successful. Of course, that can always change. That could be also a blockage that they just don't want us to connect with it for its popularity.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's kind of cliche a little bit because it's called Game Zone. Eventually
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Mickey Mouse Zone and whatever. So we feel like it's just a fad.
Yeah.
Kind of like Doge, but Doge is a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been mass adopted.
The game one, it's worth, if you want to invest in it, we feel like you'll make something, but we don't feel like it's going to really go anywhere over time. Cool. That can change, but we're not seeing it at this point.
Okay, cool.
Like Ethereum's more popular with a lot of people because it's easy to get to, like with Coinbase. Coinbase makes it easy for a lot of people. So
that's an interesting. So the barrier to entry is one of the biggest things in crypto, right? For new investors.
Yes, correct.
But at the end of the day, it's like when new people come in, you're right. They look to Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe XRP, some of the big name ones, especially in the Awaken community, XRP. But like at the end of the day, it is kind of, it makes sense. People go into Coinbase and Exodus, they're easy to use. However, sometimes, getting in on these smaller ones is the way forward. Hence why we talked about initial DEX offerings. You could invest in the new Ethereum before it becomes Ethereum. But Game Zone, I did feel exactly what you said. It's kind of like, a bit too on the nose with what they're doing. So that's all good. And
as you mentioned, yes, with cryptos, they just need to be easier to purchase on any platform. Then they'll explode, as you know.
Yep. One Velas pads, which is related to Velas, went up 8,800% in a day. So of course they're doing it very fairly. They allocate only small numbers of coins to people who are, who are basically registered, right? So it's not like people just hoarding gold and then just selling it as soon as it launches, which is good because it's actually helping things. So I'm because you mentioned a while ago, those pre-sale opportunities would be very lucrative and interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it helps them understand as like anything, how popular it's going to be and how to prepare themselves for it. Bitcoin Black has a lot of that energy. Whereas Bitcoin Black seems like there's a lot of technology that's going backwards with them right now. Unless it's launching soon, we're not seeing that. We feel like it might be longer than people thought.
Wow, yeah. So how are things with the founders and their code? They're still very nervous about launching their
yes, they're extremely nervous. More nervous than they should be. But there's some that are in there that are inexperienced. So it might be a couple of years, maybe next year, if you're lucky. Yeah. They're trying for a next year launch from what it seems.
Yep.
But they're not very confident of, how they built it. New technology, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yes.
Well, yeah, my friend who works for them as a volunteer in marketing, he publicly said they're not even replying to him, the coders and developers. So that's not a good look, for someone who's a champion of their work, it doesn't make sense. So thank you for the Bitcoin Black update.
Yeah, it might be one of those cryptos that just never launches. We think it will, but it's going to have a rocky launch from what we're seeing. It has a lot to do with just the development team. It's not where it could be.
Right. Interesting. Thank you for that. And the last one I'll leave you with is Terra Virtua, TVK, which we spoke about, I think, once before. It is an NFT platform, which to me is next level. I love the word Terra and obviously the ascended or old earth, I guess we could say. The numerology or gematria is really interesting. It's number 144 in one of their ordinals. Do you see anything coming up with Terra Virtua in October or November? Anything big there energetically?
October, maybe mid-October. It's going to be a slow one to grow. Next year, December, January, December seems to be another. A lot's going to happen around December. Obviously, it's not clear of how it's going to go, but because it's the holidays going into the new year, expect a lot of changes. Some might feel. I believe last year around this time, or yeah, the crypto market was kind of shaken there too.
Yeah. So you're talking about this December, not 2022 December.
This December, yes.
Okay, and that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin might be, yes, pushed up even more, possibly. It might die, but they're working on pushing the number even higher, as we already discussed, which will change the market for a lot of others.
Okay.
So
interesting. Thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. And thank you for that. I think that's a good recap of everything as well. Blessings to the blockchain consciousness. Thank you. And if we could bring in the consciousness of the planet Aramatena, which is part of the 12 Stargate grid.
Of course. All right. Blessings.
Blessings.
Greetings to you. I am, yes, Aramatena. Great. Blessings. Oh, yes, to heighten your frequency levels is to, yes, allow the soul to be free. Basically, you can just go somewhere or go out into the world and, yes, speak your mind. But keep your mind at a higher frequency level, which will help others be okay with being happy and allow that more happiness energy to continue. Because many are afraid to be happy. Well, because they don't want to have things, challenges to happen, and then they're just happy through the whole thing. It's like, but I'm driving myself crazy by not, allowing the griefs to come through. But yes, your Earth is going to have more of a positive frequency level. Yes, to connect to our energies. And many are from our region, our place, that are here incarnated. As one of the reasons why you thought about us, because you're connected to our consciousness also. And what your work is with the crypto, you are, yes, helping others astrally, as you know. It's like a blanket of healing energy to just help them guide to their highest beings. Like this is part of the Ascension, as you know. It's a form that's untapped, as you know. It's like another language.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. That's so inspiring and loving. So yeah, I wanted to talk about how important Aramatena is to the whole what's called the Cathian grid, right? Which is the 12 Stargates and our path of ascension. But just to take a step back as well, could you share more about the original template or original race on Aramatena? Was it an angelic hybrid origin, or did they have many other races?
Well, it's similar to like an Arcturian race.
Okay.
Very much the development of worlds. Our world, or we'll just say our world, our star, ours. Connected. We're very connected to your sun. So we go into your sun and connect to your earth there. Wow. You don't necessarily have to be on your world physically. It's just that we astral project to your sun and do our operations there.
Incredible. Yeah. And the sun is such a huge portal. So that makes total sense. And, could you talk more about as well, like there seems to be, from what I understand from some of the guardian angelic races that worked with saving Aramatena, or trying to, there's this phantom side. So it's almost like this polar to the logos or the sub logos of the sun. And then there's this other sort of dark hole, black hole sort of side, which is or phantom verse. Is that something that's still going on right now, with Earth, or is it, it's almost like a negative parallel Earth that pulls us into there? Does that make sense?
Well, yes, there's always there are, yes, reptilian realms that are pulling Earth into that. Well, it's just that the elite here they don't want to leave. That's part of why the world's the way it is.
Yeah.
But humans are learning so much from all this too. They're learning so much of the war frequencies. Letting it go is not something you just do easily.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to kick someone out of the fourth grade while they're in the middle of it. So that's why things have not evolved as fast as people would like. Many are slowly evolving up the levels.
Mm.
And the new children coming in are, yes, becoming more, from what we see, more advanced. And more the advanced schools will become, you already see this kind of already, school advancement, but it has to happen at a level where humans can handle it.
It's amazing you say that, because I was literally reading about this today with this specific notion, which I'm not huge on, but it's about the seedings, right? So obviously there's the Indigo children.
Mm-hmm.
In 1999, there was meant to be 144,000 souls, which isn't much, brought into Gaia, to help us, so that's a very interesting notion. But could you talk about, you said I have a connection to Aramatena, and other people I'm sure are watching this, they watch this for a reason. What is our connection to you? Is it DNA? Is it genetic? Or is it just soul remembrance? Could you talk more about that?
Well, for example, your connection here is the crypto connection, actually. I believe you're involved with its inception, from what I can see. You connected to it so easily.
It's true. Yeah.
Something they gotta look into, because you might not be always seeing how connected you really are with it. Because you do understand it quite well, more than most people. So, like, the more positive of the AI, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You see the AI coming in, and you just, you're clearing it before others really take it over. So show there's a harmonic energy. But with our realm and yours, yes, it has to do with DNA, has to do with mathematics, because mathematics has to do with just open up realities, portals, dimensions, calculus, geometry. Even if it is the false, it still opens up different portals to different realms.
How did you
So
know that I was going to talk about false mathematics? Because that was literally, and false geometry. That was meant to be the topic of today. So thank you for
yes, I
bringing
did
that up.
not know that. Yes. Well, yes, we connected to because we are hybrid beings, and yes, we're talking about portal. Well, you asked.
Yeah, well, I asked, of course, about the portals, but to talk about the false mathematics,
Yes.
geometries, the reason why I wanted to bring through, for many reasons, Aramatena is, the fall of Metatron, or Giovanni, as some talk about,
Mm-hmm.
some of the angelic human races and ambassadors here on Earth. There's a few,
Mm-hmm.
they talk about, this tragic fall of some of the fallen angels, which gets talked
Mm-hmm.
about almost too much. But Metatron created this insanely meticulous mathematical system like the Fibonacci, which our whole solar system and maybe beyond has incorporated. So there's this idea that, the double helix, that as above, so below, the morphogenetic fields of the planets aren't getting what they needed. They're out of whack or kilter, like we see with the poles, as well as our entrapped double helix of our DNAs. So is there anything you'd like to share about that? Because I find that fascinating.
Well, this is kind of controversial, but with what Metatron brought in, we'll just say part of what he brought in, like with the mathematics,
Yep.
was there to walk people here into this realm.
I know. Yep.
Yes. It's like a walking mechanism. Even a crop circle can be a mathematic, as you know, a symbol, geometry symbol. And that's there actually to unlock you. So I don't believe they can lock you in every more than it already is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really about unlocking the consciousness now. Any different type of mathematic energies are coming through. So, which is also part of the DNA. Basically, it's the math. When the mathematics that's here, at least in your ancient times, is programming DNA, the thought patterns, even if not everyone's connecting to it, is someone open up that portal and the portal is going through them.
Yeah.
And others that are wording it, it goes through them and it goes into the Earth's energy field. And it causes, and wherever it's coming from to block your Earth from ascension, those beings got a free entryway into this Earth through
Wow.
incarnation, through all different types of letters.
Incredible.
So
It's like the
it's
most
complicated.
intricate hijacking and complex hijacking
Yes.
of like not just people and like souls, but like an entire like potential
World.
logos or sub logos, not universe maybe, but that's fascinating. Yeah, sorry. What would you like to say?
Well, even in the beginning of, as you know, beginning of time, well, at least in human history, there are symbols. And that was entrapping humans here. Like, no, those who carry the symbol have the symbol to have the power, as you
Incredible.
know, like the
And
dollar
that's
bill.
and that's called, in at least what we call it on Earth, some beings, Kalontic or Kelontic sciences, which is the power of resonance into symbols and patterns and geometries. And could you share, like, what do you see when you see symbols? Like, they are so powerful, and a lot of
Mhm.
our collectives still have no idea how powerful. They're almost beings, right? Could you share how you perceive them? Like, how do they look, and are they magnetically charging this timeline? How is it working?
Well, yes, of course, there's a lot of sacred energies. Your secret societies, of course, they have their own language.
Yeah.
So they put energies into these symbols. Basically, you don't really need symbols here, really. Now, if you have a crystal, like a physical crystal, that's different because it's with you. When you write stuff down, like mathematics, it's like a spell. So when you get children writing this stuff down, even language can shut down your planet at the same time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you have telepathic. If you're telepathic, if you're non-physical, even with a crystal, you can be non-physical with that too. You just have an energy of a crystal energy. You don't necessarily have to be physical. The less physical, the less control.
Yeah.
So when you start writing things down on paper and all that, now you can do it in a way where you don't want to get locked in here. But according this world, obviously, it was a lock. Language is a lock. Now you can still have your language telepathically. That's different because it's hard to manipulate it because it comes from the mind. You feel the consciousness. You feel the emotion connected to it. With this world, now you can have physical writings on other worlds. Usually they're okay. But this world, as you can see, everybody wants this place. So they use physicality. Oh, this is a good thing, and it is. But also they weaponize. So anything physical is basically, even clothing color, because there's a lot of colors that are kept from you,
Mm.
and the words not allowing those. Like if you have the word of that color that's not allowed here, in like turquoise. Uh, if you have more of the higher vibrational colors and get rid of a lot of the other ones, you'll have a different vibration. Like you get rid of the word red and just start using alternative names of that.
Yeah.
Your earth, yeah, the energy shifts here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty.
super interesting because,
Yeah.
like, I always, first of all, people will probably know I always wear blue turquoise. Today I wore
Mhm.
red, and one of my friends was like, it's like like a crimson or a red wine, like you use different like adjectives. It like
Exactly.
brings a whole new energy. And yeah, I totally hear that. And the power of, is it etymology and like language? I totally understand. I am fascinated. Of course, I do crypto. I'm fascinated as an artist in filmmaking.
Yes.
Of course, it's audiovisual, but I also love singing. And I talk about this all the time. Singing can bring in a new morphogenetic field, like an original field from an original template, which bypasses through all this Metatronic or, Metatron false mathematics and geometry. What do you feel about that? Is that something that can unlock a lot of humanity's issues to a degree? Or
Yes, but a lot of your, yes, your scholars, your even churches have to change their frequency level. I mean, even just the churches, like if you create like a whole nother language here, most likely it won't be as strong as the English language. The English language is very controlled. As you can see, Arabic is very controlled. If you change this, like if you go to Latin, like the whole world goes to Latin, uh, your control system probably won't be as powerful as it was. Now there are some darkness there, but if you create a whole nother language here, uh, good luck with that, but it can happen. That's when your Earth's frequency changes.
Wow, that's fascinating because I learned a lot of people learn Latin at school, not everyone, because it's kind of
Mm.
like this old, conceived as old,
Old.
like elite paradigm. But I'm fascinated because obviously so many languages derive from there, especially in Europe. But like also, I love Greek philosophy, and to me, is this another? They were channeling, of course, beings, from Aramatena and angelic beings, but is this partly why they were so free with like these amazing concepts and
Yes.
free discussion because of the language? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it wasn't tainted at the time.
right.
It wasn't Greek back then, was so brand new. Yeah, all those new thoughts. No, that's why you have such a memory of it, because you
Mhm.
felt more free. Of course, in history is more of a controlled version, but before that it was much more females are free, males are more freer, and you had no laws. Whereas more beings are higher dimensional. Even if they're physical, they're still higher dimensional.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, interesting. And could we talk a bit about physical ascension? Some people
mhm.
used to think it was, or I know some people still who dispute it and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
I'm just fascinating. Like, hey, we have the earth codes within us. I've been taught that in various states that like, we've got to honor our physical bodies as well as being human, as tough as it can be, and as crap as it can be at times. You know, is it you talked about going through stargates, and especially we could talk about the Kai gates, some of the original 12 stargates I believe is of Earth. Can we get our DNA up to that signature level, that vibratory level that allows us to go through those stargates and ascend, but can we also know exactly where we're going?
Yes, but the body has to train itself. But yes,
Okay.
and it has to just not. I mean, it needs like a couple of years of higher frequency energy,
Yeah.
at least 3 years, to where negativity is not that strong with that person. That way, they don't get hijacked when they go through a Stargate, and they can connect to it with a pure mind.
Mm. Mhm.
But they have to telepathically connect to the Stargate also, to know that they're first off connected to the right energy. It's like they astrally go through the Stargate, like they know that they're synchronizing with it. So it's like walking into it.
Yeah.
So it is possible, yes, but you got to really know what you're getting into. No.
Right. Okay.
So
And
most
yeah, that makes
most humans use technology, what I can say.
exactly. Yeah, because it's super dangerous trying to do physical like through stargates, especially because like our bodies just aren't designed or there yet to deal with that. So talking about the DNA, I mean, surely the DNA is a huge part of this key, right? To unlock our potential, but also like the DNA and even our neurology, right, is like the transmitter to bringing in this new field
Well,
or a light of your
yes.
self.
Well, there's a lot of alien beings that don't make themselves known. You can say died here, but put a lot of their programming into the human.
Hmm.
So their negativity, it's like they had to die here to like for humans to kind of eat their energy or breathe it in. I know it sounds a little bit strange, but a lot of politicians were affected by these type of beings. In your Prometheus movie, I believe he dies after he does the black goo,
Yep.
and he just dies. Yeah, there's something about death that it goes into the molecules, it goes into the earth. It's just something that around, and there are beings that it's not really called suicide in their culture. It's another form of growth, but their darkness came in. There is a light, but usually it's the darker ones that did it.
And the black goo is, if people don't know as well, it's like originally it was found in our system in the Orc field, and it's the ultimate. When I say ultimate, I mean ultimately negative AI consciousness that hijacks people's entire bodies and potentially souls. It's like it makes
Exactly.
them sometimes super genius and but emotionally almost non-existent. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Also, I wanted to say there's a lot of Zeta Grays that are incarnated in this world currently. It's another reason why there's so much control grid here.
Right.
And they are setting up for a better future. Some of them have a terrible human, social skills. But more of your Palladians and your positive Syrians are coming. They're just not quite ready for it. Just obviously many of them are here, but this more of like the war. Those are warrior like, as you
Yeah.
probably can see.
And is it true that Mecca was the original meteor of black goo that arrived here on Earth, as well as other spots around the world?
Mecca is one of them. Yes, there's other places though.
Which is interesting because it's this hive mind that's flowing around it, right? Of people who are worshiping this black
Well,
cube.
South Africa.
That makes sense. Where like would it be Cape like Johannesburg or yeah?
Yes.
Okay, because that's it's the golden meridian, so it makes sense to almost neutralize that in a way, right?
Yeah, it's like the heart. You can say technically it's kind of like the heart of Africa, and it's not technically called that. It is, yeah, it's where a lot of the elites, they make it difficult to go there for obvious reasons, but they seem to be pretty happy there.
Yeah, it is. It's a reptilian layer underground, and also, I have starting to do work with helping a white lion trust there, which is very powerful, and they are very benevolent. And could you talk? The white lions are based right there. They're
Yes.
right in Timbavati, right, which is on the Gold Meridian. Do they do a lot of astral work or physical work to?
Yes.
Right.
I believe those are from Sirius.
From Sirius.
And yeah, it just shows I mean, there could be a blue tiger, blue lions. But technically the yellow lion used to be blue, technically.
Because of its chakra system, right?
Right. And also has the sun energies and yeah, just many different factors. But yes, the white lion is just, you can say to show there's an alien presence here. There's more into it, but yes, it works with the chakras of the earth, definitely. Well, it shows a uniqueness. It's like, remember, we are beautiful. And so many people, poachers wanted to, take them out.
Yeah.
But they are well protected. It shows that this world is extremely unique.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Those are usually a royalty raised feline.
I've heard the same thing from the founder, and she's amazing. And that's all her work is around how they are almost like the words gods get thrown around, but for lions, they are very special type of lion and souls. Yes. And they looked very different to normal yellow lions.
Yes, they were. That's a different type.
Yeah, their head structure. DNA. And could we talk about, just to go back to that, just now back to Earth, because I don't want to, keep you for too long, but what do you see, from your perspective with the positive timeline we could be entering for Earth? Do you see anything you can see from your angle or anything we can work on?
Well, you are on that positive timeline. It's just making it more active for others. Like some people are already on it. So you have a spiritual development. You don't want these wars anymore. You don't want all of this, drama.
Yeah.
So as long as you continue, because those of you that are on that, your timeline gets stronger, it gets brighter. Other people going through, that's why some people are just antisocial to the regular society, because they don't want to get pulled into that, because it's so easy to get pulled into that realm. Even if they don't watch the news and all that, they're still part of that old timeline.
Absolutely.
And many of you are filtering out the low frequency levels.
Yeah.
So some people wonder why they're alone all the time or not very social, is because you're cooling out the frequencies so more people like you can be here.
I agree. So, the shedding of old friends or even family members can be really upsetting, but it has to be done. It has to be done, because I really do feel like, especially since these lockdowns and stuff, and now we're getting reintegrated into society being open. It's like these, like you said, it's like these multiple dimensions coexisting in the physical reality of Earth. It's so strange. It's people are on very different signals and wavelengths. So I can totally see that. And do you see anything happening, like a catalyst finally happening where at least, people can like have the chance of waking up? Is there anything political or hopefully not warlike?
Well,
any truth?
No. Well, we do see we want to word this correctly, but kind of like a breakdown of the US. Not financial breakdown, but you've already kind of seen one last year, so you have an idea of what it looks like.
Yep.
And you've seen one in 2008. So there will be another one, but don't feel like it's the end or financial end but it's not going to be easy to predict.
Right. And is it to do with, we talked about
government breakdown.
Government breakdown, exactly. You know, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist, I guess, for, you know, to see,
No.
you know, Biden, I don't even want to say president, he'll come down. And then is there going to be someone like Trump or someone else come through, or will that, you know,
That's a hidden timeline, but let's put it this way: you are heading into a more angelic timeline eventually. Just,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's like you're taking a door off the hinges. It takes time. You know, just taking the door off, not putting one back on. And that's what's happening right now. You're just removing the blockage. It's
yeah,
not an easy one.
absolutely. Yeah. And how it's the ultimate question, the one you probably get, how long could this take? You know, do you see this being like small drips and drabs over the next year, or is it going to be an event where people are like, okay, we know we have that confirmation we're on the best timeline?
Well, 10 years or before, there's no real set timeline from us. It's sacred timelines.
Okay.
But you are making into a level of more higher frequency energies.
Right. And to
So,
talk,
but don't
yeah,
be afraid of the dark either, because the dark needs to be healed. So if you talk about it, it all depends on how you talk about it.
exactly.
Just to release it instead of just indulging and putting fear out there. If you're not doing that, just, you know, just releasing it is key right now.
Cool. Sounds great. And yeah, talking about that, just a couple last things about Earth. Do you see like a fairly big financial fall or correction before next year, like towards the end of this year? Because you mentioned don't think of society breaking down. Yeah, in the US.
We don't see financial upheavals. A lot of it's going to be diverted, but we do see still. Doesn't mean it's going to be this year, but some kind of government collapse. It's already being orchestrated right now.
Yep.
Just when it's going to happen is another story. Well, basically, the entire the system. So another one's being built currently.
It has to, yeah. And it's, you know, it's interesting. I know a very talented remote viewer named Dick Algar. He depicted, or he remote viewed the Senate, and people had their heads in their hands, especially the corrupt ones, because they knew that it was game over. They were done. Would you say that's quite an accurate depiction?
There's a timeline for that, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we
Interesting.
thought you were going to talk about a bunch of tall people, alien people in your Senate, like
Oh yeah.
7, 8 feet tall beings.
You talk about shapeshifters or people coming in?
Just alien beings that are 7 feet or 8 feet tall.
And can you share more information on that? Because that was such a tease.
Well, there's a possibility of that. I mean, they're already there. They're just not showing themselves.
Are you talking about the Nordics that have been, or Pleiadians that have been working?
They're, yeah, assortment of different beings. Venus beings are there too.
Okay. Interesting. And I thank you so much. And the one thing I would love to leave on is, could you share more information about how Aramatena looks in this, you know, in your own time matrix right now? Is it prosperous? Is it still in this like phantom, you know, potential manipulated state? How's it looking? Because it's such an
No, we're coming from a prosperous timeline.
Brilliant.
We're speaking with now. I mean, yes, there are dimensions where are being tested similar to your planet, but overall, we are more the higher consciousness that's here, and that part of our world that is going through a lot of lower frequencies is necessary. It's like without that, we wouldn't have the higher frequencies.
Yep.
So it's like a seeding. It's where the plant grows.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So we always remember our roots, where we come from.
Well said. It grounds you. It keeps you humble, and you learn from your mistakes, which Earth has not really been doing yet.
All these high vibrational worlds, or any world, normally has a higher frequency and a lower frequency connected to it. It's always going to be there.
Yep.
So it just to keep your society grounded.
Yep.
No, don't forget. So
yep.
Right. Blessings to you.
Thank you, too. Blessings.